Space is mostly silent. At least to our radio telescopes, it's just this constant, faint background hiss. But what if, for just a moment, something broke that silence? Nearly 50 years ago, something did. A sound that lasted for just over a minute and then vanished, leaving us with one of the greatest cosmic mysteries of all time.
And really, it all comes down to this one single word. See, on a quiet summer night back in 1977, a radio telescope picked up a signal so bizarre, so completely off the charts, that when astronomer Jerry Amon saw it on the data printout days later, all he could do was grab a red pen and scribble this in the margin. Wow. And honestly, no other word has ever fit better.
And we're not talking about just any random blip of static. For this incredibly brief, incredibly precise window of time, 72 seconds, something clear, powerful, and seemingly structured cut through all the noise of the universe. It was a transmission that appeared out of the void, and then, just as mysteriously, disappeared back into it.
So let's go back. Picture this. It's August 15th, 1977, at the Big Ear Radio Telescope in Ohio. This thing was massive, about the size of 3 football fields, and it wasn't designed to see the stars. Its whole job was to listen, patiently sweeping the skies, hoping to catch anything other than the ordinary hum of the cosmos.
But here's the crazy part. Nobody heard it happen live. The telescope's computer just recorded the data and printed it out on these long sheets of paper. It wasn't until a few days later that Jerry Amon was going through the logs and his eyes landed on this bizarre string of characters, 6EQUJ5. He knew instantly that he was looking at something that had no business being there. He circled it, wrote wow, and the rest is history.
Okay, so to really understand why this one little signal sent such shockwaves through the scientific community, we got to talk about what they were even listening for in the first place, right? What makes one sound from space just noise and another something more?
Well, think of it this way. The universe is naturally really noisy. Stars, galaxies, pulsars, they're all broadcasting radio waves. But that's wideband noise. It's messy, like someone just mashing all the keys on a giant cosmic piano at once. Scientists working on SETI, the search for extraterrestrial intelligence, figured that a deliberate message would be the opposite. It would be narrowband, a single clean note played perfectly, designed to stand out.
So, if you're an alien civilization wanting to send a message across the stars, what frequency do you use? Well, you'd probably pick one that any other intelligent species would think to listen to. Scientists call this the hydrogen line. It's the natural frequency of hydrogen, the most common element in the entire universe. It's like the universal water cooler, the one channel everyone in the cosmos would know to tune into.
And this is the absolute key. The Big Ear telescope was parked right on that channel, 1,420 megahertz. It was listening specifically for that cosmic dial tone. For years, it heard nothing but static. And then, on that one night in August 1977, the phone rang.
So let's get back to that weird code, 6EQJ5. It looks totally random, but it's not a message in the way you might think. It's actually a beautiful, perfect graph of the signal's intensity over time. It tells a story.
You see, the computer used the numbers 1 through 9 for signal strength, and then, if it got even stronger, it started using letters. So 6 is where the signal first pops up. Then E, Q, it's getting way stronger. Then, bam, U is the peak, an intensity over 30 times louder than the normal background noise of deep space. And then, just as cleanly, it fades back out. J, 5, and it's gone. A perfect bell curve.
But here's the part that really gives you goosebumps. The Big Ear telescope didn't move. It was fixed to the ground. It just used the Earth's own rotation to scan the sky. Because of that design, any signal coming from a fixed point in deep space would take exactly 72 seconds to pass through its field of view. And how long did the WOW signal last? You guessed it, 72 seconds. On the dot. This is the smoking gun that proves it came from way out there and not some satellite whizzing by.
So naturally, the first thing everyone did was point every telescope they could find at that exact spot in the sky, in the constellation Sagittarius. They were looking for a star, a planet, anything that could have sent it. And you know what they found? Nothing. Just empty space. All right, so the logical explanations start to kick in. If it's not a star, what else could it be? The most obvious suspect is always us, right? Maybe it was a top-secret military satellite passing overhead. Nope, not a chance. That idea was shot down almost immediately for 2 huge reasons. First, a satellite moves across the sky. This signal was fixed relative to the background stars. And second, that special frequency, 1420 megahertz, is protected by international law.
It's a keep-out zone, reserved specifically for radio astronomy so it stays quiet. Nobody is supposed to be broadcasting there.
Okay, so years later, another, more clever idea came along. What if a comet, trailing a huge cloud of hydrogen gas, just happened to drift through the telescope's view? A hydrogen cloud would naturally emit a signal on, you guessed it, the hydrogen line.
It was a good theory, but here's the problem that kills almost every natural explanation they've ever come up with: the sheer power. The numbers just don't work. No comet we know of could ever generate a signal that's 30 times stronger than the background noise of deep space. It's just impossibly loud for any known natural source.
So, we've ruled out earthly sources. We've ruled out every plausible natural explanation. And that leads us to the most profound and, frankly, the most chilling part of this mystery: the great deafening silence that followed. If someone called, why did they only do it once?
I mean, they tried to find it again immediately. The very next night, they pointed the big ear at the same spot. Silence. A month later, they used the even more powerful Arecibo telescope. Still nothing. For the next 40-plus years, astronomers have gone back to that tiny patch of sky again and again and again. The result is always the same: utter silence. This has led to this really powerful analogy that might explain the silence. What if the signal wasn't a phone call directed right at us? What if it was more like a lighthouse, a massive rotating beacon sweeping its beam across the cosmos? We just happened to be in the right place at the right time to catch that flash for 72 seconds as it swept by. And now we're just waiting for it to swing back around.
So when you strip everything else away, here's where we stand. After almost half a century of debate, debunked theories, and fruitless searching, the WOW signal remains exactly what it was on day one: the single most compelling, scientifically baffling, and tantalizing candidate for extraterrestrial contact we have ever found.
So what was it? A cosmic hello from a distant world? The sweeping beam of a galactic lighthouse we just happened to see once? But you have to wonder, what if a single deafeningly loud blast, never to be repeated, wasn't a greeting at all? What if it was a warning?